Well, folks, by the looks of it, and it sucks to say this, but Tesla stock and the entire stock market is on the verge of collapse. Check it out. It's about 2:30 p.m. right now on the East Coast. We have the S&P 500 down 0.5%, the Russell's down 0.4%, the Nasdaq's down 1%, as the Dow is down 0.3%, and the VIX is up almost 1.5%, and we have both gold and silver up 1%. So yeah, you know it's getting ugly out there when the metals are creeping up and the VIX is creeping up as well. It's not exploding yet, but it could get worse in terms of the VIX. So yeah, we have a lot to break down in this video, guys. We're going to talk Tesla stock. Am I buying, selling, holding? And we're going to break down the overall stock market. So if you all find value, of course, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and let's dive right into the video. So check it out, guys. SPY just hit a fresh low on the intraday chart. We hit $393.69 about 30 minutes ago. Yeah, about 30 minutes ago. And since that point, we've been seeing a little bit of a rally, but still, it took the lows out from earlier, which I talked about in my earlier video where we covered Alibaba, which right now is up almost 15%. Go check out that video after this video, of course. So it looks like the bulls are nowhere to be found. I mean, they're nowhere to be found here on the intraday. It's gotten worse since that last video. And again, we took the lows out from earlier, which earlier at about 10:30 a.m. on the East Coast, SPY was at about 394.50 to about 395. We took that low out, very obviously, right? And we can see on Triple Q, it's the same thing, right? We hit 304.75 about 30 minutes ago, which took the low out from earlier in the day at about 10:30 a.m. on the East Coast, where this thing was at 305.30. So the bulls are nowhere to be found. Even though we are seeing a little bit of a relief rally at this point, we still took the lows out from earlier, which is not a good sign at all for the bulls. And we can see here on the 20-day chart, Triple Q is now falling under both moving averages as of today, which is not a good sign. And I'm assuming that's the same thing happening here on SPY. Yeah, SPY is falling under both moving averages on the 20-day chart. And it's clear to me, guys, we're putting in a lower high after a lower high after a lower high. That's pretty obvious here based on the 20-day chart. And again, we're starting to fall now to fresh intraday lows, and we're taking out the moving averages on the 20-day charts. And really, guys, the only fighting chance the bulls have at this point is to bounce right around this trend line that I just drew, because technically, again, I kind of said they're nowhere to be found. Well, I guess they have one more chance here, guys. The bulls do, right? Because right now on the 20-day chart, we are approaching on SPY a critical trend line where technically we are holding a higher low, but if we do fall through this point right here, being about 394 to about 390, this $4 window, if we do get the bears to push through this level, we start taking out 390, that's where, honestly, the bulls are really going to be nowhere to be found at that point, right? If we start falling under $390 a share. So keep your eyes on that point on SPY. And on Triple Q, you got to watch out for this level as well, because technically we are holding, we're trying to hold an uptrend here on the 1 hour chart, but the bulls are, this is their last chance on Triple Q as well. If this falls under 305, 300, which is right where it is now, that's where it could really start to slip, which you guys can see 300. That was support pretty much from the past couple of days, really the past week, 10 days. That's where Triple Q's held. Again, if it falls under 300, it is going to start slipping and getting ugly. And with that being said, guys, let's take a look here at Tesla stock, which is down 2.5% on the day, back under $190 a share, down almost $5 a share so far on the day. And that's not a good sign for the bulls, because now officially we're putting in another lower high. Look at this. We failed to break out of this trend line that I drew out a couple videos ago. We're putting in that lower high. Now we're starting to fall back under the moving averages. As of today, with today's dump, we're back under the 180. Well, I guess yesterday we were under the 180, but now we're back under the 50 SMA as well, which is not a good sign. But the bulls are showing some sort of life, a little bit of life here, which if we do maybe get a bounce here at around this trend line that I just drew out, maybe we get one more little relief rally. But again, this is the last straw pretty much for the bulls, guys, right around here, 185, 180. If Tesla falls through 185, 180 into the 170s, that's where it's going to get really ugly on Tesla. The bears are going to come in full effect, and this could be going back to the lows from the middle of this month, being 2 weeks ago, which honestly, we're pretty much a stone's throw away from those lows, being about 168, 170. That could happen quick. We could get there pretty quickly, fairly quickly, if we fall through the floor of, again, 180 to 185, which right now the bulls are fighting to hold that point on the intraday chart. You can see a little bit of a relief rally off 185, but I'm not too convinced. Again, I'm not too convinced that's going to happen, because on the 20-day chart and on the 4-hour chart, you guys can see we're still technically failing at a lower high, and you could argue we're in a wedge, but again, we're holding on by a thread here. I feel like this could fall through the floor, so I'm going to set my alert at $180 on Tesla. Now, the $1 million question is, where could it go under this point? If it does break 180 again, it might be going to the lows from earlier this month of March, which could be anywhere from 160 to 165, right? And if that were to break, man, it could start to slip even further. You guys can see back in, when was this? Back in November, we actually held 165 as support, and obviously that did not hold for long. We ended up going all the way down to about $100. So if we break 180, again, 165 is where we're probably going to be going. If 165 were to break the low from the middle of this month of March, this could start slipping towards 145, maybe 150. It could get ugly fairly quickly, guys. And I'm not trying to scare you or spook you. I'm just being honest based on what I'm seeing here on the chart. And personally, guys, I'm holding on to the little Tesla that I have. And you guys know on the channel, I've mentioned this before, I used to own a bigger position, sold a bunch of it. It's got to be well over a year ago at this point. Sold a bunch of my Tesla, still own a little bit, and I'm just going to be holding it at this point, right? I'm not buying, not selling. I'm personally just going to be holding on to my Tesla. So watch out for it, guys. I'm going to set another alert. I have one here at 180. I'm going to set another one at about $185. And if you guys haven't gotten up to 17 stocks yet for Moomoo, use that link down below. Once you open up an account, you get 1 free share of stock. If you deposit at least $100, you get 6 more free shares. And if you deposit at least $1,000, guys, you get another 10 stocks, totaling 17 free stocks. So again, if you deposit at least $100, you're getting 7 stocks. If you deposit at least $1,000, you get another 10 stocks, totaling 17 free stocks. So if you want to help out the channel and you want to get some free stocks, use that Moomoo link down below. And now let's take a look at the upside potential on Tesla if it somehow doesn't break out, or break down rather, and it doesn't collapse. So if we start to see a move out of this trend line being about, 195, 200, roughly, that's the general range there. If we start breaking out of that level, now we're talking a move towards 210, 212, which was the high from the end of February. Maybe it starts going 218, $220, which is where we were in the middle of February. That is where we could be going. And if we start breaking out of those levels, 212, 215, that's where the bulls could really come out of hibernation and take this thing to the moon. And now that I'm looking at this, hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. We have an inverse head and shoulders on Tesla. So we're gonna play devil's advocate here, guys. Again, the bears are in charge in the very short term, but if we're looking at Tesla's chart on the 4-hour and we really peel the layers back a little bit, we're noticing an inverse head and shoulders is starting to form. So this is actually in the bulls' favor here, and the fact that we're holding the neckline at about 175, 180, that's a good sign for the bulls. Now, we have to start to see a break above the downwards trend line that I talked about a couple minutes ago. Here, right around here, right? We have to start breaking out of that to get any sign of the right shoulder completing. And if that does happen, obviously, that'd be good for the bulls. But we're not seeing that right now, and I'm not showing or seeing any signs of that anytime soon. And of course, we'll look at the chart. We'll let the chart tell us, and we'll play it accordingly, guys. So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I might as well set another alert here. Mark is at or above. Let's do a couple more. $200. I'll put my alert at 200. I'll put another one here at maybe 215. We'll see what happens at that point. So this could really go either way, guys. We have that inverse head and shoulders forming, but again, in the short term, the bears are definitely in charge. And the neckline right here is about, okay, that's another good point to mention. The neckline is around 168, 170, which again, that was follows the low from back in November, also from back in the middle of this month of March. So if we do fall through that neckline, you better believe it, guys. The bears are going to gain a ton of momentum. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. Hit the like button if you found value. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and my second channel, Stas Talks Money, link down below. Don't forget to also get up to 17 stocks for Mumu. The clock is ticking, guys. You only have a couple more days to do that, and feel free to check out my Patreon if you want my charts throughout the day, thoughts throughout the day, my Patreon portfolio. I post all my moves, full transparency on Patreon, and you also get more access to me throughout the day. All of that is linked down below, and with that being said, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.